Hello, and welcome to another Yapping at Midnight. On this particular program, we're going to be a little less professional, a little less organized, a little less everything. So, as you guys already know, I'm Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and joining me for this Yapping at Midnight is the Texas Witch herself, Bonnie W.
Hey guys, how are you tonight?
So we don't. My cat literally just turned her back to me. She does not approve. Uh, that was the most random thing. She was looking at me. She just turned. But
she literally was like, gosh, you bore me, human.
Yeah, and now she's licking her paw. So okay, nice to know how she feels.
I love cats. And
so
that's why.
We don't really have too much planned tonight. But you know what? I do want to make an announcement, though.
Oh.
This is huge.
Oh.
Very
I'm
huge.
surprised myself. What?
Well, I mean, you kind of already know, but thanks to Angie K and Neema doing a little bit of pushing, you can now take Unexplained Possibilities on the go, on any device, whenever you want, where you want, download, listen, play, send a message, whatever. Because we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what's this other one called? Wait, give me a second. I'm gonna actually have the names here for you. It is
SoundCloud?
No, not on SoundCloud. You would say the one.
The only one I'm trying to think of.
Okay, here we go. I got the list here. So we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Overcast, Radio Republic. I don't know what some of those places are, but we're on there.
I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, so right now there are 4 episodes of Unexplained Possibilities that are up that you can download and listen to right now. And there are a couple of classics from the archives, and I think you guys will truly enjoy them. And hopefully, to the new people, well, I won't be uploading this Yapping at Midnight there, so I guess it's no new people I'm speaking to.
Interesting.
But,
wow.
Well, now here's the thing, which when we do another show, I will mention that some things are going to stay exclusive to YouTube. Yapping at Midnight's one of them, Too Crazy to Believe, and some of the other little programs, we'll say, that we do.
Awesome.
But at least we're now on the go, in your pocket. You could plop us anywhere, download, whatever.
Make sure to plop us, people. Plop away. Plop away. What is plop us?
I don't know.
Melvin, this is why you're so interesting.
And
I like that. Flop 'em.
And
that sounds like Texan.
Oh, jeez, Bonnie.
Well, just saying. I'm sorry if I've rubbed off on you.
Oh, no.
No.
And we're also now on Instagram.
Oh, that would never happen, I thought.
Well, it's not my doing, so we'll say, let me get that out the way now. Again, this was prodding from Neema, and Angie K also mentioned it several times, and it's just, ugh.
Well, I think it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, okay, so I don't run the Instagram. Angie K does. She's the creative mind, and she'll come up with the nice, funny, unique stuff, and this and that. I'm just kind of a bystander, or a deer in headlights, not knowing what's happening.
So she's the one with the amazing memes I love.
Oh,
I love it.
Yes.
I mean, she had me in tears the other day. I'm like, this is great. Where does she get these? I'm like, I don't really want to save them with anyone, or share them with anyone, because I don't want them to find out who my meme queen is. And very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
But that's all Angie K. Credit goes to her. I didn't even know what a meme was for the longest time.
She's like the meme queen, man. She really is. I love it.
And she's quick with it. But I love this because Neema...
My coworker calls them memes.
That's what I called them at first.
No,
That's what I thought they were. That's what I thought they were. I thought what's a, well, I said May May. I was like, what's a May May?
May May. Hey, May May. Hey, May May.
That's what I thought they were. So like,
well, this country redneck, I love him to death. He's a sweetheart, but he was like, yeah, did you see that one meme? I said, what in the hell are you talking about? And it took a minute. I was like, you mean meme? Gotcha. And no, I don't think we're looking at the same memes.
So on Instagram, Neema sent one to us, and Angie got it, and she was like, pretty much, she was like, oh, you guys are normies, you know. You need me to step in like a normie.
Y'all are weak. You're weak memes.
So, take that as you will.
No, I love it because I am strong with the memes myself, so I appreciate her memes. I do. I appreciate hers. Hers are great.
So, okay, awesome. She'll hear this and she'll say thank
I just yanked my earbuds out. Sorry about that.
Ouch. That
well,
hurts.
no, I'm the tatted, pierced person. Do you think that pulling them out of my ear is that going to hurt that bad? No, it was more like I felt like you would hear me go, whoa, like I'm swinging.
Okay.
But I guess it didn't. I was always wondering about how that sounded.
Well, you can hear the playback.
I thought this was going to be edited, Mel.
No, this is unedited. Yapping at Midnight, no edits. I'm lazy with this one.
Oh, I love it. So they're getting to hear me at my glory.
Yeah. So chances are, since we're doing a recording and we're not live, I'll just break it into segments. But that's about it.
That's cool.
So,
that's cool, though.
So you're getting a full dose of Bonnie.
Lord have mercy and help them all. I
don't think that's gonna help.
Sweet baby Horus. I don't know.
Horus, that's a new one.
Well, it was funny as a lot. I've said that forever. Sweet baby Horus, you know.
That'll give you
the looks. Egyptian. Well, yeah, especially where I live. It's like, what?
You mean Jesus?
No, I don't mean Jesus, sweetie, but that's okay. You know, it's the other more alien Jesus, the one that helped the Egyptians out.
Yeah, the one that actually, in my opinion, has the cooler story, but, you know.
I like it. Yeah, it's really cool to me, too. I agree.
Well, you know what? There are some parallels between Horus and Jesus. I mean, both of them kind of come from, well, both of them have a type of Trinity thing happening. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and all that stuff. Holy Ghost, whatever you want to call it. They're both saviors of man.
Oh.
It's just one took more action, whereas the other one was, I guess, peace be with you, and came back as a zombie. Now, Horus's father
Did you call Jesus a zombie?
Well, that's what he is. I mean, he died on the cross. They threw him in a cave and covered it with a rock, and he came back to life. He's a zombie.
You called him a zombie, and see, I have people that look at me like I'm crazy when I call him a demigod. I think demigod sounds a lot better than zombie, man.
Well,
zombie Jesus.
It's probably close. Well, that's technically what he is. Son of,
I know, but it's just.
But he's a zombie. I'm sorry, but Jesus is a zombie. You know,
That's really cute.
But,
well, and I didn't realize, you know, here I am trying to always save $1, and it's like cremation's cool with me. I'm fine with that. I'm like, I don't know if I'm happy with the idea of my body rotting, but I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't do cremation because it's like they're afraid that when Jesus comes, they won't. I guess but the bodies are supposed to be there so that I guess your soul can take them back. I'm not sure how. But I was explained by one person that that's like what they thought happened, and that's why they did not believe in cremation because their bodies were supposed to still be there for when Jesus comes back. I'm like, how the fuck are you going to get out of all that? How are you going to get out of all of that casket?
I mean, who knows? I have bad news
the caskets are sealed, like, aren't they in like a concrete thing?
Some of them. So
the stinkies don't, you know.
Some of them.
I just don't want to worry about stinking. Honestly, I don't want to be the wormies, the other
wormies? Bugs. What the heck? You're not in the dirt itself. What?
You think those have it? Yep. gross, because those things will get in anywhere. Well, aren't there supposed to be bugs in your body? I don't know. Maybe my cousins, when I was a kid, told
What
me
the heck?
they told me you have like worms, like and it probably is some type of bacteria. What they really?
Okay, so yeah, we have like microscopic
Oh God!
organisms, and
See,
we might have mites, of course, on the eyelashes and eyelid or
you're
eyebrows.
freaking me out now.
Well, I'm sorry, but this is just normal. But having parasitic worms, like a tapeworm and mess, no, you shouldn't have
Mm-mm.
that.
No, I know. Well, so, you know how many people I know that would love to have a tapeworm for a minute,
I mean,
but
but no, you should not have worms like that in your body. I mean, if maggots and stuff start coming out, that's for a whole different reason.
but okay, but I don't know, for some reason I thought that they kind of were there to help our body break down.
I
Because
mean,
my cousins would tell me shit all the time.
yeah,
After a while, I learned that I wasn't going to believe everything that they told me.
I mean,
But
you're getting the bacteria, of course, mixed up, but it's microscopic. It's not going to
so
get too
okay,
big.
maybe that's what they were meant, and it just had me like in this paranoid, because I think the things that always scared me is like my parents, my grandpa actually, when I was little, he was like a butcher back in the day, like in the 40s and 50s and stuff, like long, my dad was his mom was quite older, a bit older when she had him.
Hmm.
And so my grandparents were old, and I never met my grandma, but they said that my grandpa, he was a butcher back when my dad was a baby and before. And that did a lot to him. I'll put it to you that way. Like, he did not like red meat. There were so many reasons why, but and you can ask a butcher if you know one now. They'll just, like, if they find a cancer or tumor or something in it, they'll they'll cut the tumor aside and still sell all the meat that's next to the tumor or whatnot. I don't think that would be very good, but whatever. But red meat made my grandpa really weird when it came to germs. And I remember as a kid, he made me think that there were just these tiny, tiny bugs that I just couldn't see very well. And I had them crawling. And technically, I guess in a way we do. But he made me so OCD as a little child because I did, bugs scared me always. And my mom caught me one day. She had noticed my hands were dried and bleeding and cracked a lot. And she caught me. I was washing my hands after I had basically washed my hands. You know what I mean? It was like everything I did, I would go and wash my hands because my grandpa had this. He said, "Oh my God," she had to take me to the doctor and get me like a special cream because my hands were literally not wanting to heal because I kept them ruined. And she finally had to go to my grandpa, because we were living with him, taking care of him. And she's like, George, George, isn't that great? That's so old fashioned. George, you cannot be scaring the girls like this. Yes, there are germs and yes, they need to wash their hands. I understand that. But you have her terrified of ever, getting her hands dirty at all. And my grandpa, that was that was interesting as well. Old fashioned is an understatement. People back then, like my grandpa's age and stuff, he was born in 1903, I think is what it was. And people that were in that whole era that had been through the Depression, there were some things that I looked at my mom and said, Mom, I think that Papa's going crazy. And she's like, "Why, honey?" I said, "Because he just put milk in the cupboard." And it was
Wow.
because, they had the refrigerators were different. But I think back then they would use like the ice blocks and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I can't remember the reason, but there was like an actual reason that they would leave the milk kind of in the cupboard and only ice it in the evening and stuff. There were so many things that we do so differently now. But if you think about it, look at all the preservatives and crap we have in our.
Yeah.
You've seen the McDonald's burger that's going around on the internet now, right?
Just recently they showed this. I think it was a 42-year-old Twinkie.
What?
Yeah, it was.
That's really scary, Mel.
It was dried out, but I don't think it actually had mold on it or anything.
Is that not scary?
Yeah, oh, it's freaky. But to be fair, everyone knows about the Twinkies already. Like, the Twinkies are... Mm-mm. Yeah, the Twinkies will get you.
What do you mean? Go ahead and tell me about this.
Okay, so it said that... I mean, of course, this isn't true, but it said that the Twinkies were designed to withstand long periods of time without being refrigerated and... to be able to withstand a nuke, and you could just take and go and
that's terrifying.
So 42 years, and it's no mold on it. It's just super dried out. Mm-hmm. Mission accomplished.
Well, 42 years. Golly, a 42-year-old Twinkie.
Yeah, but saying that though, like you said, with the preservatives, I mean that's probably why people struggle with losing weight so much. That stuff, we're eating that junk and. What can you do? Like, man, if it's keeping this fresh, what is it doing to me? And
exactly.
And I still don't know why organic stuff is more expensive than all that chemical.
That doesn't make sense. Exactly. It's like we're pickling ourselves. Gross. Gross. Like, it's. I wonder if that's also a reason people are aging so differently now,
Actually, I think that has more to do, well, this is weird, but I think it has a bit more to do with just the natural order of things. But if we want to get spiritual, we could just say that the Kali Yuga is coming to an end, so...
The Kali Yuga.
Yeah, the Kali Yuga. It's part of the 4 yugas, which is a cycle, and it's Hindu. Trying to think of the other ones, and
because it sounded very, very familiar. So I was trying to figure out what you were talking about.
I'm about to butcher these names, so sorry in advance. But and you would know it because Kali, Kali Ma, Kali.
Yeah.
So you have the Satya Yuga, the Treta Yuga, and the Vipara Yuga, and these are the ages of man or whatever.
Okay.
And the Kali Yuga is the last stage, and it's the one where man is at our lowest point. We die. We're short. We die quicker. We're not happy. We're not next to God or gods. We're just terrible, in a bad shape. And now that we're supposed to be on the tail end of it, it's supposed to be ending, the Satya Yuga is starting again, and our spirituality is going to grow as well as our physical prowess, and we're going to live longer and all that. So I just say that we're on the end of the Kali Yuga, and the Satya Yuga is starting to take over.
Okay, and I know this is going to sound weird. Now, can you compare that to like the age of Aquarius? I mean, now I would honestly, Miss Stinny Poo would be the one that would know so much more about all that because I think that because she's an Aquarius, I think that she totally takes on that whole the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. It's a bit thing. Tougher because the ages via the zodiac, Aquarius, Taurus, blah blah blah. They're a bit shorter than the yugas. They're somewhat comparable, but the yugas last for allegedly thousands of years.
Okay, got you. Okay, not just for like a moment in time.
We're talking. Okay. This is long term, and it's so funny because in a strange way, they dated when the Kali Yuga was supposed to start, but also at the same time, it's like, well, don't think it's actually 1,000 years. But,
right. Just thinking of it being called the Kali, goddess Kali, that's going to be prepared, people, for some major ass kicking and knowing and just that's what Kali is, the goddess of, and it's, a lot of people think of her as dark or scary or whatnot. And I guess like any mother can be, and like I was fixing to get onto one of mine actually just now. So mothers can be really hard on their children. She's just a loving mother that wants the best for you, and she's like a crushing of ego goddess. She wants to strip you down from your ego, from who, we're all this I and I mentality, and help you to realize that you are part of, the whole, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're important, but it's like, you're kind of like maybe a freckle, like if you're going to look at it as a body, a human, we are maybe a freckle on a, because there's so much, there's the, central nervous system, you have the bones, all of it. And like, yeah, we're part of the whole universe. Yes. But a lot of people focus on the I part. And that's, and I've been dealing with a lot of Kali energy myself lately. And it's a lot like learning to deal with my own it's when it comes to being disappointed or feel like things like I've had such a hard time. There it is, there's so many people out there that have hard times and stuff. So it helps you to kind of understand that. And of course, she'll remind you with other little incidents that might happen if you're not getting the idea of the point that she's trying to make. But honestly, she's amazing and wonderful in a lot of ways. But, that I can only imagine that era of time, the Kali Yuga, will be. People consider it a lot of destruction and sadness, Bill. Oh. Then figure it out and then fix it.
Yeah, that's one way of
step up.
Looking at it. So, but
it's just interesting. I've heard the word, and I guess I've never really dipped into it because, oh my gosh, there are so many things on my like spiritual to-do list to look into and to try to, well, you know what I mean? It's like somebody will give me a little more information on one topic, and it's like, oh, you just opened a freaking rabbit hole for me. And there is when it comes to spirituality and the mystic side of things, I think a whole lifetime wouldn't be enough to learn it all, or even 2 lifetimes. It's like, imagine being in a library that had every book ever written by, like, especially even nowadays where people are self-publishing. So imagine being the size of that. There's no way anybody could ever read every book in the library. It's just kind of one of those things of looking into it. There's so much into mysticism, and there's so many things when it spirals down. And there's a lot, so that I've kind of like, I'm starting a to-do list of things that stand out. Listen to that accent come out just now. There's things that stand out big time for me. And I know it's something that I guess I'm being drawn to do or listen or read into or find out more about. And that's me doing my best to try to learn more. Because otherwise, my ADD is hardcore anyway. I couldn't imagine.
Well, now you got me thinking of, what is it called? The Akashic Records?
Oh, gosh, yes. I even have a tarot deck. And I have pulled it out a few times, but because I want to know more, I feel like I'd be wrong, or I'd be like a, what's it called? Or not a wannabe, but a poser if I pulled out my Akashic Records tarot cards and like try to do a reading with those, because I need to know more about the Akashic Records beforehand. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I just recently, I bought them about maybe a year ago, but the timing of the whole Starseed. I bought the Starseed tarot deck, or the Oracle, I think it actually was.
Yeah. No, I remember
it's that. Actually,
that was trippy.
Well, that was because they are so neat, and it was like the timing of it. Me finding that was so different that it just stood out. And so, and honestly, unfortunately, I love the cards. They have some wonderful things about them. At the same time, they are big. I showed you how big they were.
Yeah.
Right, Mel? I mean, like, okay, for anybody that knows tarot, these were like the size of, most of them are, index card and maybe a little bigger, but these were the size of an actual postcard, I would say, or bigger. And that made it very hard to work with. And just to basically shuffle. So I will use them, but it's going to be on certain occasions.
Yeah,
but like with the Akasha, I don't know enough.
It's kind of like these Druid cards that I have. They're pretty huge, but you've seen them, and I used them on you.
Right.
And I like them and everything, but it's like, I would use you for certain things, just like the cards that I personally connect to my guides. I don't. Well, I only have one set, but the other ones will be coming shortly, eventually.
That's really cool.
But
that is really cool.
So it's like I'm not going to use these unless it's really necessary, and even then, I'll ask first just in case. And surprisingly, one of them said no multiple times over. Like, no, don't touch my no.
They don't like you.
What
that is really cool.
Say that again, Bonnie. You were breaking up a little.
No,
bit.
I said. Oh, that's really weird. Okay. I said that's really cool that you kind of will go with the energy of the cards, and that's kind of how I do it too. But it's not like, well, it's like, which one am I for this person or for this reading? Because sometimes it's just like it's odd how it will stand out.
So, and it's interesting stuff, I think, but now I kind of want to see what you're going to do with those Akashic record cards.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of for the familiarizing myself with them more so. But I guess I kind of just want to get a good general understanding of the Akashic records in the first place. Like, from what they're dealing with past lives.
Wait. Stop. For some reason, you're going in and out. This is crazy. All of a sudden, it just popped up.
That's weird. Okay, I wonder. Hold on, let me get back. I went to the garage because.
Oh, okay. So,
well, I went there because my kids were being quite loud. But that it shouldn't be bad, to be quite honest. Yeah, let's see if this is better. You hear me better now?
It's already better. I think the signal just got weak some, and that's probably.
That's odd. Oh, my parents, believe it or not, my dad is not a person that I would ever call the type, because that's where I'm at right now. But my dad is not the type to he doesn't know how to work computers and things like that. Let's just say he's not techie at all.
Yeah.
But he does know enough. I guess my son probably was like, well, you need 2 routers, for the internet at your house, because the house is they have a large house. Mm-hmm. And so he does have 2. And that's why I was going, well, that's really quite strange, considering in my house, it doesn't matter where you go in it. I'm usually got a pretty decent signal. But their house, it's totally different because it is really big, though.
Yeah, and then going into the garage, usually garages, they're built with thicker material and stuff like that. So it might have been just harder for the signal to penetrate.
And this is one of those houses that were built back in the day when, they built literally with brick on brick.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is. I wouldn't worry about that one too much. It's not a ghost this time.
What's funny is my mom and has had a few experiences, even herself. And I started laughing. I was like, I'm wondering if it's, because I've stayed here a while, while I'm painting my house. And I'm kind of wonder, that's when me and my sister noticed so much as kids growing up. My mom never had an experience really so much or even tried to dip into it until being around me. And it's like the other night she had mentioned something, and it was just weird. And I can't remember exactly, but it was more like this weird feeling that something touched my dad too. I didn't tell you about it, Mel.
Uh-oh.
My dad, and he wants to not even think about these things, but he said, can't remember what he was doing, but he was like, he said somebody touched him. Somebody like just touched him, and it was like he turned his head to see who it was, and nobody's in the room with him at all. He thought that one of the grandkids had walked up behind him, tapped him on the shoulder type thing. Not a person there. That's like, it's your mom. You know what I mean?
Creepy.
Well, and I've told him numerous times that I said, "Oh, Grandma Bonnie is still here." And he's like, "What?" I said, "Let me tell you." I said, "I know for a fact how spoiled, rotten, and what a little coddled baby. He was so cuddled and just kind of like that." Very spoiled, bratty kid. Let's just be honest. I love my dad, but he was spoiled rotten by her because, they never thought they were going to be able to have kids. And I think she was 40 when she had him.
Okay.
And so it was a shock, let's just say. And so he never had to, even ask for, she did everything for him. And she still tries to. I laugh. I said the only reason that he ever met my mom in the first place is because she hunted him down, or she hunted her down, because it was like, I'm not letting any woman take care of my son unless she's just like me. It's weird. It's like I know my grandma's personality so much because she's so, I've never seen her. I feel her. And she's what I call a hover mom. She's a lot like my mom and my sister. Me, it's like, okay, guys, you know what? There's the streets. Don't let it kill you. I want mine to learn, because when they get out there in the real world, it's a lot harder than what I was prepared for. Let's be honest. And it almost ate me alive. And I want my kids to be prepared for an ugly, cruel world that it can be sometimes. I know that sounds awful, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
But at the same time, it is because I love them. But let's not lie, Mel. Does it seem like it's getting to be a prettier place?
Well, okay. Now you're asking. I kind of see
a person
different.
that is. Yeah, you're gonna see it as a dark way anyway. Yeah, it's getting worse every day.
Well, okay.
I
will
think
say
that's
that.
true.
I will say this. I think that there are things cropping up to that will help make things better, but at the same time, there are also things that are just stubborn and are getting worse. But when things enter their darkest period, it's because something better is literally right around the corner. And I'd like to think of it as that last little oomph before you get it. Almost like a horror story. Like, when it comes to horror stories and novels, things get way worse for the protagonist before they get better. And even in the second act, if we're going to go with the classical rules of writing, Act 1, introduction and kind of happy-go-lucky. Act 2, everything just goes so bad. Empire Strikes Back is the best example I could give for that.
I love it. Yes.
And then Act 3
like that.
Is that conclusion where it's like, all right, you made it over, unless it's a tragedy. But
Return of the Jedi. I like I like the freaking. Well, let's just use your analogy. I love it. For those that are Star Wars fans, you have your kind of your backstory, the freaking A New Hope. You get to know your characters. You kind of know their personalities. But then the next one, that's when the real stuff happens. My dad. Speaking of the devil. But you have the Empire Strikes Back kind of things are getting gritty and the world's shit,
Yeah.
And then you get the last one, the Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I love it. Let me tell you something, Mel. When I was a little girl, 5 years old, my mom said I remember this. She used to do my hair in the Leia buns, right? The side buns. And I had this bright white blonde, like naturally blonde towhead. I was straight hardcore towhead with the bright blue eyes too. And I had my hairs like around my ears, and it was. She says your hair was just so light and fine that it, if I didn't have it pulled back somehow or short, that it would almost float naturally because there was no weight to it. Wow. So I had like that static hair.
That's that Pleiadian blood in you.
I'm telling you, man, it was interesting. It was quite interesting. I remember as a kid, though, she would like try to strap it down to, and make these little tiny makeshift buns for me because I wanted to be Princess Leia, because my whole goal forever, I'm going to marry Luke Skywalker. And I meant it. And I looked at Mark Hamill a couple of years ago, and I'm like, God, how disappointing life has been. Because I for sure knew he was, the man I was going to marry. But of course, I was 5, 6, 7 years old at the time. But I did, that's like the first time that I think I would consider my first. That's beyond crush. I'm going to marry him. It was like they would laugh at me because they said, Bonnie, you would say it so hardcore that it was like you were going to make it happen.
Though? At least you chose the right guy. So
yes.
That's someone I would approve of.
Well, give me 20 years, it probably would have been the, Anakin, or the, more the bad guy. That ended up happening anyway, but I did. As a kid, I really liked the whole concept of Luke Skywalker, the one that was going to be the difference, the change, the person that stood up for the right and did the right thing. And I love don't get me into Star Wars because there's so many analogies for the Force. Hello, people. What is the Force? Mm-hmm. It's our magic. It's our it is our psychic side. It's our spirituality. It's like learning to handle it. And I knew that as a kid. I understood what the Force was as a kid. And that's what's quite weird. I will say, there have been many movies I've watched as a kid that I watched as an adult. And it's like, oh, well, I totally didn't understand what this was about at all. But I can say without hesitation that not Star Wars. And I remember watching this with my older cousin that I thought was so cool because he had the Millennium Falcon and everything. They had one of the very first VCRs, and I because of course you didn't know how to work it, and you didn't touch expensive equipment back then like that. My aunt would drive him crazy and make him rewind it over and over for me, watching a Star Wars New Hope, and because I understood it, the whole thing with the Force and stuff, it felt very familiar to me, which is gonna sound crazy, but it's like I knew what that was always. Yoda, when he was, I always loved the part of Empire, where he's training with Yoda, and I like Yoda beating him on the head. I'm sorry. I swear that's my guides always with me.
Cracking you upside the head.
I did tell you that's happened to me one time.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I'm not playing. That's pretty much what it was like. But yeah, I just didn't see my Yoda on my shoulders when he's whacking me on the head. And the hot dogs. So they've had hot dogs forever, I'm guessing.
The hot dogs.
You don't remember? See, I remember Yoda throwing hot dogs.
Oh, those frozen things. Well, they weren't hot dogs, but I don't know.
They looked like hot dogs to me.
It was some type of ration, but they weren't hot dogs.